the Hedgehog. As a kid, I always loved Sonic games, especially the stages. Some are best, some are bad, and some are just downright in the middle. And today, we're going to be talking about the best and worst stages in Sonic series. Before we get started, there are a few ground rules I wanted to add for it. First, no Riders Trilogy. Second rule, no Sonic and All-Stars Racing games. And, unfortunately, no Sonic Frontiers. I know, I'm sorry, but since I don't have the game, I can't really review the stages to determine which one is the best and the worst. Other than that, everything else is okay. Without further ado, let's start with the best and worst Sonic stage with... Marble Zone don't get a lot of praises, but in my eyes, I believe Marble Zone is a really good stage. You got your platforms that can crush you, you got tiles that falls that can help you cross lavas. You also got lava that chase you all the way down from beginning to end, and so much more. I would talk about Green Hill, but there's two reasons why I didn't pick it for the best. One, Sega liked to overuse it in almost every single game that came out, and another reason is because... yeah, but for every good, there's always... We all know that this stage was going to be the worst. Well, what else can I say? It's Labyrinth Zone, the stage that has unfair enemy places, spike balls, and just like in the name, it's a labyrinth, which is long, slow, and boring, and with our infamous drowning music. Well, what else can I say? It's Labyrinth Zone. So, let's move on. Now, I know I sound like a hypocrite for putting Chemical Plant as my favorite, but here's something I want to say. Chemical Plant is and will always be my favorite stage in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It retains the speed, like Sonic, while retaining some of the platformings. Give you best in both worlds. And the music is such a beauty. Just take a listen to it. I know there are other stages, but Chemical Plant will always be in my heart. Plus, it's in Sonic Generations as well, and if it's in Sonic Generation, you know it's a good stage. I know that Metropolis Zone is supposed to be the last stage before you get to the final boss, but there's such thing as too difficult. You got enemy placed in the most ridiculous spots that can hurt you. You also got tight spaces that you need to jump with precise, and like Labyrinth Zone, it can be very long depending on what route you take. Not only that, but it's also the only act that has 3 acts into it. The last thing you want to play is more. Why make a worse stage and make us play 3 acts of it? Why? I have no idea. Stardust Speedway can be long like Labyrinth Zone, but in a way, it's the good kind of long, where Even if you get a little confused, the branching pathways can bring you more joy than ever before. Not only that, but it also introduced Metal Sonic, one of my favorite Sonic characters, outside of Omega, Zero, or Gamma. But what else can I say? Stardust Speedway is, well, an infamous one. But also, whether you go to the past or the future, the music gets better and better within each of the acts. It's basically Labra Zone, only if it was worse. And that's it. Well, time to move on. Flying Battery Zone is one of my favorite ones because of a few reasons. One, it's an air stage. Second, the platforming around it, whether you're grabbing on chains that lower you down or doing with flames, whether you're inside or out, it can be really good. Not only that, but the music itself is such a great thing. It's like when you go through, it makes you feel like you're flying inside of a ship. Not only that, but they also even give you capsules that gives you enemy spawns. Not only that, but the lightning mechanic around Act 2 can be really challenging. But other than that, the stage is really good in its own charm. Now, I don't particularly hate Sandopolis, but when it comes to the other stages in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, this one fell short. Where do I begin? Okay. The sand itself can be a little bit of a hassle both inside and outside the pyramid. Not only that, but when you get inside the pyramid, you have two things. You either have to deal with the sand that can crush you or the ghosts that can kill you if you don't turn on the lights. Not only that, there are longer sections within the stages like the swinging mechanics that can be a little tedious. When I first played this game, when I first played the stage, it took me over 10 minutes to get through the entire things. It got confusing to the point where even when I finished it, I didn't really care about how long it took. Twinkle Park is one of the most magical stages in Sonic Adventure. It got fun rides such as bumper cars, bowling, and roller coasters. But when you're not doing that, the stage itself is like, well, an amusement park. Even though there have been a few other stages, even an entire game that's based on a theme park, Twinkle Park is like a magical place. I know that Emerald Hill and Speed Highway are more memorable stages and even been included in both versions of Sonic Generation. Twinkle Park has always been, well, my favorite in Sonic Adventure. Now, Hot Shelter is not a bad stage when you're playing as Gamma, but when you're playing as Amy, Hot Shelter can be not really a good stage. Now, again, it's not the stage that's made it the worst. It's Amy's control is what made it the worst. It's bad enough you're already being chased by one of Dr. Eggman's robots that's here to capture a little animal that you have with you throughout the adventures. But Amy's game mechanic sucks. It's bad enough she's slow, but when it comes to the stage itself, you got, well, it's just the robot itself. Other than that, the platforming is not bad, but due to Amy's controls, it made it the worst. City Escape is a great stage. Again, I see why many people really love City Skip. First off, when you first play the stage for the first time, you're starting by sliding down into the city by using a chunk of a helicopter. Then once you're off, then the real fun begins. You got your basic platformers, grinding, and at the end, you're getting chased by a giant gun truck chasing you all the way down the city. Not only that, but this stage is also in Generations, and just like Chemical Plant, when you appear in a game like Sonic Generations, you know you're doing a real good job at being the best stage. Now take this what I'm gonna say with a grain of salt. I'm not a big fan of the treasure hunting stages, but Ruse's final stage is downright the worst one in the entire game. For starters, you got gravity mechanics that can be all over the place that makes it much harder for you to glide. Not to mention the hint system is all backwards. And not to mention, it's the longest stage in the entire game. It's bad enough, not only that, but due to the game's mechanics where you can only look for one emerald at a time, makes the stage even longer than what it is. And it deserves a spot as the worst stage in Sonic Adventure 2. Casino Park is really good. Most pinball stages in Sonic games are really good, but Casino Park knocks it out of the park. Depending on what team you play, whether it's Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, or Team Chaotix, they're all fun. Of course, Team Dark and Team Sonic has normal level difficulties. With Team Rose, it's the easiest way, and for Team Chaotix, the only mission you have to get through is to collect 200 rings. Regardless of such, the stage itself is amazing, with pinball physics all over, and, well, when you get into the second part, which is Bingo Highway, you're riding down an entire bingo section while collecting all of it. If you try to get a bingo, it gives you more rings, and with that, it makes it my favorite stage. Now, making a scary Sonic level is not bad, as long as you have good mechanics and gameplay. Mystic Mansion does not meet those requirements. Now, hold on, we're not adding Hand Castle into it. That level was good, but when you get to Mystic Mansion, it messes the entire flow up. Whether you're playing as Team Sonic, Team Dark, or Team Rose, it gets very confusing with twisted rides that make you go up and down and all around. And with Team Chaotix, you have to do the blow torch mission, which requires you to blow out every single torch in the stage. And if you miss one, you have to backtrack through the entire stage and go and try to find the last one. It gets very frustrating and tedious when you have to deal with level design like that. And unfortunately, as much as I love Hand Castle, it earns a spot as being the worst. Now, Prison Island is a really good stage, even in a bad game. Depending on what mission you go for, whether you're going for the hero, dark, or neutral, they're all perceptibly easy. When you do the hero mission, finding all 5 top secret discs can be really easy. I'll enjoy some of the level goes into it. But if you choose the dark mission, destroying all of the gun soldiers robots are really easy to take care of. Or, if you just go straight to the neutral path, it's just a straight thing to the beginning to end. The music itself is just a beauty to listen to. Not only that, but some of the parts where you're riding down toxic sewage while beating some of the robots in the process can be really interesting. And for that, it gets my top favorite place into, well, the best. Now, picking the best stage doesn't mean that the game itself is still bad, and unfortunately, Lost Impact still make it to the worst. Let's talk about the mission itself. When you're going through the hero mission, hunting down every single artificial chaos is a nightmare, especially when you don't have a radar and or a map. Now, if we would have had a radar or a map, it would at least finding the artificial chaos much easier. But since we have to search for them blindly, we have to deal with the stage itself being a little bit of a confusion whether you're picking the hero or the neutral. Even if you pick the neutral route, it still makes it really hard for you to beat it, and especially getting an A rank out of it. And unfortunately, it makes it to the worst.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Now, Crisis City is a really good stage. No matter whether you're playing the Sonic, Shadow, or Silver, they're all great in their own ways. For Sonic and Shadow, you're riding down the burning places while fire and glass are breaking all over. While the enemies around are providing you a little bit of challenge. For Sonic, he has his mod speed section where you're chasing a tornado away. For Shadow, you're gliding using, well, a glider around the tornado. And for Silver, you can take control of either Silver or Blaze. For Silver, he uses psychokinesis to take care of his enemies, while Blaze is more like Sonic with an acrobatic and a flame for a double jump. It's a really good stage, and it makes it to the best.
Dude, it's not that hard to say something that, oh, you're vomiting.
Oh, Aquatic Base, how the mighty have fallen. Where do I begin? Well, let's start with Sonic's part of Aquatic Base. The first thing you deal with is a silver ball that you need to get across, which gives you the most finicky controls with it. Silver gets the same treatment as well, but the differences between Sonic and Silver's part of the silver ball is that if you purchase the gems, you can able to bypass it by using the purple gem, which gives you infinite amounts of jumps. But Silver doesn't get that treatment. Silver has to use the ball in order to go across. And if the laser even touch a piece of the ball, it will go off in flames. And for Sonic, it means you die. But for Silver, depending on what part he is, he could use his psychokinesis to, well, continue on his journey. For Shadow, he has, well, his combat mechanics, but with magnetic balls, it gets in the way and gets his combo stuck and can result in his death. There's so much problems with it. And the one last thing before we move on to the next one is that when you're taking control of Knuckles into a set, it gets very bad due to how he works. His controls get him stuck, even if you try to, move from one wall to the next. So many problems with the stage, and we'll only just talk about a little bit. But regardless of such, it returns itself as the worst.
If truly free, be stopped never through all that's happening.
Of course I have to pick Evil Foundry. How can I not? There's multiple things, but I'll chuck it up to maybe 3 things for me. 1, the fiery background shows that, well, you're running through the flames, but you're so fast, you don't even feel it. You're dodging enemies, and the music. Oh, the music. Just have a listen to it. Brings me so much joy. Evil Foundry is my favorite stage. Now, the entire game could be good or bad based on the controls, including the stage, but Skeleton Dome doesn't work. Your movements when it comes to it can boil down to how well you control and how precise your jumps is. And unfortunately, I didn't really have the patience to really do precise jumps at the time. Unfortunately, this landed on the worst in my opinion, and I didn't really have much to really say about it other than because of the controls was really bad. Sorry. Rooftop Run is my favorite stage in Sonic Unleashed. The atmosphere of how fast you're running, you going around the clock, and the environment all around the world brings so much joy into it. No matter how fast or how slow you take the stage, it's enjoyment even if you're not even speed running the entire stage. This stage is one of my favorite, and it landed as the best one in Sonic Unleashed. We all know that this stage was coming in. Oh boy, where do I begin? Well, for starters, this is the only stage that has you turn between day and night, whether you're playing as the regular or the Werehog. For daytime Sonic, you have to deal with do-or-die quick time events, and you have to deal with the roller coaster part, which can be really unfair. As the Werehog, you have a lot of enemies you have to deal with, tricky platformings with no railings, so that means you have no way if you mess it up, and it's such it could be long. Not to mention, this is the longest stage in Sonic Unleashed. Thank God they shortened it on the Wii version. Otherwise, they both will redeem the worst. Titanic Plane brings you so much joy with enemies that slows you down, spears, and even stone walls that gets in the way. But what makes it really good is the atmosphere. It makes you feel like running as free as the wind. And in my eyes, that's what made it my favorite out of all of it. No matter what path you take, it makes you feel like you're running free as a wind. It just screams freedom, and the music brings so much joy to me, and what makes it my favorite stage in Sonic and the Black Knight. They say there's an old saying, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But what if you can't get out of the kitchen? Such as the fate that fell the Carlton. Oh boy, where do I begin? Well, let's start that there's lava and fire all over the place. You also have to deal with precise jumps and multiple enemies you have to face. But what makes it the worst is that you're on a strict time limit, and if you fail, you have to start all over again. It wouldn't be so bad if you weren't stuck between a time limit and there was fewer enemies, but since they're what they are, it landed as the worst. It's one of my favorite stages in Sonic Colors. For one, the atmosphere has this robotic-sized kind of feeling where even though later on in the story we find out that Eggman is using the Wisp to power up his mind control ray, but when he takes the entire planet, it's still under construction, and the atmosphere makes it feel like it's an enslavement kind of thing. Even though we have a few enemies there, some platformings, and it even introduces the spike wisps that help you walk around in ceilings and even spin dash, but the music is what really sells it for me. The music has this drilly piano music, and when Ultimate came along, it gave us a fresh coat of paint. Not only that, but the music even shows more of a robotic side as well. A lot of people don't give a lot of praises to the remaster version of Planet Wisp, and this what makes it my favorite. Alright, time to pick the worst Sonic stage in Sonic Colors. I got my trusty script right here, so why don't we take a look? Weird. It's blank. Weird. There's no worst stage in Sonic Colors. Even if you ask someone that either played the game before or only played it first, said they only have a problem with a few sections in the stage. But that's a small thing in a larger whole. So yeah, there's no worst stage in Sonic Colors. Congratulations, Colors.
Amazing!
You gotta ask yourself, how do you improve on a great stage? Simple answer, take everything that made it so good in the original and crank it up with 11. Chemical Plant in Sonic Gen is amazing. For starters, you have Classic Sonic, which retains everything that it was in the original, but with updated graphics and more details to it. While Modern Sonic has a whole new look, and in the background it shows everything from pipes to the waters to literally everything with platformers and enemies. It made me so happy that this stage came back in Sonic Generations and is deemed the best in Sonic Generations. Now I ask again, how do you improve on a great stage? In this case, you don't. Radical Highway Act 2 from Sonic Generation 3 is the worst Sonic stage in that game. Radical Highway in the original shows a lot of good admiration. The remaster version on Sonic Generation does not, at least for Act 2. Act 1 is fine, but Act 2 has too many branching pathways and too much precise jumps. And the music, the music. It tried to be all edgy and try to make what the original was not able to do. Which there's a reason why Radical Highway in the original did better than the Sonic Generations version. Skyro Act 3 really makes you feel like you're flying. When you start the level, you're getting shot out of a cannon and you're flying all the way while dodging missiles and destroying badniks. What else can I really say? Skydeck Act 3 is really the best, and the music itself shows nothing but a breeze. Lava Reach Act 3 is basically Tropical Coast Act 2, only worse because you have to be precise with your jumps. And that's it. I don't think that the fan developers realize what they done when they made this stage. Studiopolis is the greatest stage in Sonic Mania, probably in the entire Sonic series. The stage has this Hollywood feeling with the Eggman TV, the cameras, the popcorn, even when Sonic bursts through a TV, even when the announcer says, lights, camera, action. It shows this, you're on a Hollywood feeling. Now walk the red carpet because you are famous. And that's what makes it the best in my opinion. Titanic Mochar's Act 2 is the longest stage in the entire game. It wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't like that, but there's a section where in order for you to continue, you need to branch up into 4 different parts and continue in order to beat the game. This section is so long that it takes up so much time and you end up being confused on where to go and how to beat it. Which, isn't really fun in my opinion. Now imagine that you're in a prison and you just escaped. What do? You run and get out of the prison. Prison Hall is really good in Sonic Forces. It presents with this dreary prison where you're trying to escape and try to rescue anyone that you can. With a few enemies there and some platforming there. Even though this is a custom character level, it's still really good. And the music that comes with it is just a beauty of it. And it deserves to be the best. Death Egg is long, slow, and boring, and a really bad version of the original, only made it worse due to Classic Sonic's control. Wow, Sonic went from this to that in a matter of years. Sonic had a few good adventures and some bad ones, but overall, Sonic the Hedgehog will always be in my heart. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Please like and comment and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification so you guys will be notified when I do gameplays, reactions, and other stuff. Until next time, keep going, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I wish you a happy birthday.